Stop scrolling right now. What you're about to discover will completely change how you see beauty forever. Did you know that the first Mexican hijabi makeup artist to get agency representation in the USA was hiding a secret so powerful it revolutionized her entire career? We're talking about Sandra Sayens, a woman who works with Sephora, who's a global brand ambassador for KVD Beauty, and who did something so shocking that the fashion world didn't know how to react. She walked into high-fashion photo shoots wearing a hijab. She transformed models' faces while covered from head to toe. The industry said it was impossible. They said fashion and modesty couldn't coexist. They said she'd never make it. But Sandra did something that nobody expected. She became more successful after converting to Islam at 25. How is that? Even possible? Listen to this and prepare to have your mind blown. When Sandra Sayens discovered Islam at 25, she described it as an explosion of color. Think about that. A makeup artist, someone who literally works with color every single day, said Islam brought more color to her life. How does that make any sense? The world thinks hijab is restriction. Society says covering up is boring. Critics claim modesty kills creativity. But Sandra experienced the complete opposite. When she embraced Islam, her world didn't become black and white. It became more vibrant, more beautiful, more alive. The woman who spent her career making others beautiful discovered that true beauty came from something she never expected. What was it about Islam that made a professional makeup artist feel more colorful after covering up? Can you even imagine the cultural shock? Sandra Sayens wasn't just any Mexican woman. She was raised in a culture that celebrates physical beauty, revealing fashion and feminine expression through appearance. Mexican culture is vibrant, colorful, and expressive, and then she converted to Islam and started wearing hijab. Her family probably thought she'd lost her mind. Her friends must have been confused. The beauty industry was probably expecting her to quit, but here's what's absolutely insane. She didn't abandon her Mexican identity. She combined it with her Islamic identity. She became the world's first Mexican hijabi, makeup artist with agency representation. She proved you don't have to choose between culture and faith. You can honor both. How did she navigate these two seemingly opposite worlds? Are you ready for this crazy story? The high fashion beauty industry has strict standards. They want their makeup artists to look a certain way, dress a certain way, fit a certain mold. And then Sandra Sayens showed up in a hijab wanting to work backstage at fashion shows. Can you imagine the reactions, the confusion, the rejection she must have faced? But here's where it gets wild. She didn't just survive in that industry. She thrived. She worked for Sephora. She became a global brand ambassador. She got featured in magazines worldwide. The industry that said impossible had to admit they were wrong. Her talent was so undeniable that her hijab became irrelevant. What does that teach us about real talent versus appearance? Let's talk about what Sandra sacrificed. She converted to Islam at 25, right when her career was building. She had connections, opportunities, momentum in the beauty industry. And then she made a decision that could have destroyed everything. Wearing hijab in the fashion world, that's career suicide, right? Wrong. But nobody knew that at the time. When she took her shahada and put on hijab, she was risking everything. Her career, her relationships, her comfort, her cultural acceptance. The beauty industry is brutal to anyone who doesn't fit their mold. But Sandra did something incredible. She bet on her faith being more valuable than her career. How many people would have that courage? This is where the story gets absolutely legendary. Sephora, yes. That Sephora, one of the biggest beauty retailers in the world, featured Sandra Sayens in their campaigns. A Mexican hijabi makeup artist representing a global beauty brand. Do you understand how revolutionary that is? For decades, beauty advertising femme showed one type of woman, thin, revealing clothes, specific features. And then Sandra showed up covered from head to toe and still became the face of major beauty campaigns. She proved that beauty isn't about showing skin. She demonstrated that modesty and high fashion can coexist. She destroyed every stereotype about Muslim women and beauty. The impact was so massive it changed industry standards. But wait, it gets even more insane. Sandra Sayans didn't just work for beauty brands. She became a global brand ambassador for KVD Beauty. That means she's not just doing makeup, she's representing an entire cosmetic line to the world. A Mexican Muslim hijabi woman as the face of a major beauty brand. The industry said it couldn't happen. The critics said consumers wouldn't accept it. But KVD Beauty saw what everyone else missed. Sandra's authenticity was more valuable than any traditional beauty standard. Her unique perspective as a Muslim makeup artist brought something fresh to the brand. Her story connected with millions of women who felt excluded from beauty standards. How did she convince a major brand to take such a bold risk? Sandra Sayans said something so bold it became legendary. She stated, "I'm Mexican and a Muslim. I just happen to be one of the most controversial kinds of people in America now." Can you believe the confidence in that statement? She wasn't hiding, she wasn't apologizing. She was owning her dual identity that made some people uncomfortable. In an era of Mexican immigration debates and Islamophobia, she stood at the intersection of both controversies. And instead of shrinking, she used it as her power. She turned what could have been her biggest weakness into her greatest strength. That takes incredible courage. What gave her the confidence to embrace controversy instead of running from it? Here's something nobody talks about. How does a professional makeup artist balance Islamic practices with industry demands? Fashion weeks happen during Ramadan. Photo shoots scheduled during prayer times. Industry parties with alcohol everywhere. The pressure to compromise must be intense. But Sandra found a way to maintain her religious obligations while excelling professionally. She prays between makeup applications. She fasts while working 14-hour shoots. She maintains hijab in environments where everyone else is half-dressed. The discipline required is unbelievable. Her ability to navigate these challenges without compromising her faith became inspiring to Muslim women everywhere. How did she set boundaries in an industry famous for having none? The beauty industry called Sandra Sayans a positive rebel. What does that even mean? It means she disrupted every norm while maintaining grace. She challenged standards without being aggressive. She broke barriers while staying true to her values. She revolutionized representation by simply being authentically herself. Her rock and roll vibe came from standing up for what she believed in. She wasn't trying to start a movement. She was just trying to work while maintaining her faith. But her example was so powerful it inspired artists worldwide. Visual artists started creating works interpreting her image. She became the muse instead of the makeup artist. How did she become more influential by covering up? Can we talk about how insanely difficult her life must be? Sandra Sayans is balancing a high-end fashion career, being a mother, maintaining hijab in a challenging industry, and practicing her faith. Most people can barely handle one of those things. She's managing all four simultaneously. The logistics alone are mind-blowing. Baby needs feeding? She's backstage at Fashion Week. Prayer time? She's in the middle of a photo shoot. Ramadan fasting? She's doing full-day makeup jobs. The exhaustion must be real. But she keeps showing up, keeps delivering exceptional work, and keeps proving that Muslim women can have it all. What's her secret to maintaining this impossible balance? Fashion editorials worldwide started featuring Sandra Sayans, not just for her work, but for her story. Major publications realized readers were hungry for diverse representation. They wanted to see that beauty comes in all forms. Sandra's editorial features became statements about inclusion. Each magazine spread showing her in hijab doing high fashion. Makeup was a victory against narrow beauty standards. Her visibility gave courage to thousands of hijabi women pursuing creative careers. She became proof that you don't have to choose between faith and fashion. The cultural impact was massive. How did her presence in editorial magazines change the conversation about Muslim women in beauty? Becoming the first Mexican hijabi makeup artist to secure agency representation in the USA isn't just a career milestone. It's history-making. Before Sandra, agencies didn't think hijabi makeup artists were marketable. They assumed brands wouldn't want them. They believed consumers wouldn't relate. Sandra destroyed every one of those assumptions. Her agency representation opened doors for countless Muslim women in beauty. She proved that diversity isn't just morally right, it's profitable. Brands realized there's a massive market of Muslim consumers wanting representation. Sandra became the bridge between Islamic values and beauty industry success. What does her breakthrough mean for the next generation of Muslim artists?